Salt and Straw's Honey Mustard Justice. This too, what was the flavor? Sunset Overdrive was the last flavor I did a couple weeks back, maybe a month by this point. That was part of the Pints with Pride pack. Salt and Straw did for Pride Month last year. Yes, another nearly year-old pint. This was one of 5 of those flavors. I think this is the last one I actually have. Of that Pride pack. I already got it going all over the place. And it's fairly unique. So what we have here is a honey and mustard base with a hint of hard apple cider, a honey gastrique swirl, and lots of pretzel streusel. And as you can see and might expect, we are dealing with a bright yellow base. Salt and Straw as one of the best bases in terms of quality in the game. Consistency is premium, it's dense, it's very creamy after you let it temper. Obviously, tempering is the key, but it's a beautiful base. You're always in for a real treat in terms of texture when it comes to Salt and Straw. Now, leave it up to these guys, Salt and Straw, to try to pull a flavor off like this. I think the key here is it doesn't scream honey mustard. So some of you may be shutting off the review right now. You may be disappointed in that. However, I don't think it's bad. I think they nailed all the components of what the description states. It just doesn't scream like honey mustard, like I'm pointing towards my fridge. Like you might, dip your chicken fingers in, or chicken nuggets, whatever you guys dip honey mustard in. I'm not the biggest fan of honey mustard. It definitely just does not scream that honey mustard sweetness. It's a different type of, okay, let's break it down like this. I'm getting a lot of honey, like just natural honey from the bottle, the jar, like a gastrique swirl. The gastrique is like a caramelized sugar. So imagine a honey, pretty sweet honey flavor mixed with a little bit of that caramelized sugar type swirl, which is then stirred throughout the base, which consists of yellow mustard. I do get some tanginess, very little though. I'm wanting more mustard. That's my issue here. But also the apple cider vinegar is just like it's definitely an oddball here, and I get that. I get the bitterness. I don't know if you want to call it tangy, but if you're ever taking a shot of apple cider, like it's potent. The vinegar just knocks you back. So let's call this honey mustard base. Heavy on the honey, so it's got a honey sweetness, but also the vinegar is the other component between the very little in the mustard and a lot more in the apple cider. The pretzel streusel, good and bad. The bad, it's not that flavorful. I just don't know, like I could definitely go for some more salt, a lot more salt. It's not, I'm basically getting like a flour bread-like flavor from the pretzel. So amidst all the honey sweetness and the vinegar bitterness in the base, it's taken a back seat. But the good news is incredible texture. It's perfect. Every bite, it held up extremely well. So it's, y'all all know streusel. It's like a crumb-like topping. So I'm getting that, especially, let's check out this spoonful first. So you can see it's always falling off the spoon here. So you can see the crumb cake-like texture. And occasionally mixed into all that, oh, perfect. Occasionally mixed into all that streusel, excuse me for spitting that out, but you guys see this, or actual, like, I'm gonna call them pretzel sticks, pretzel rods, whatever you want to call them, which are, yeah, slightly soggy, chewy, but it's different than that more fine crumble-like texture. Like you can see here at the very top. In the end, heck of a texture for this ice cream. I don't know if it was Salt and Straw's intention to mix that honey gastrique swirl like in with the ice cream, because I'm getting a lot of that flavor in with the base, and certainly there's no standout swirl. Like I haven't come across zero. So I'd like to think that that's what Salt and Straw was doing, was literally taking that honey swirl and churning it into the yellow mustard apple cider vinegar base. I mean, in the end, I love unique. I've had so many pints, I love something that's different. So kudos to Salt and Straw for sticking their head out, literally sticking their head out to attempt this flavor, because it does need some work. I need more mustard. That's my main complaint with the base. Dial up the salt or the pretzel flavor altogether a little more in the mix-ins. And, you know, I think we're dealing with something a little better. It's obviously still a good scoop, just a little off the mark. Salt and Straw's Honey Mustard Justice gets a 6 out of 10.